Earlier in the show, you were talking about getting a brand new crispy television. You have a PS4 Pro now, and
Ooh.
you guys want to have a discussion about this. I don't have a PS4 Pro, obviously, so I am not going to be too much of help in this conversation. I'll interject when I can say something, but I just want to hear you guys go back and forth about your impressions with it, because this is another thing, going back to the fanboy thing. Like, PS4 Pro is cool because I get to hear from you guys what you like and what you don't like and what's awesome about it. Because what I'm thinking is Project Scorpio is that, obviously, but stronger though, right? So for me, hearing what PS4 Pro is gets me excited for the future of Xbox, because that's what they're trying to compete against now. So I can't wait to hear
Yeah.
your guys' thoughts. So go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah. So I want to go ahead and just kind of air out my grievances here. I think this is totally a half-ass step. I think I'm still very excited for the Scorpio, because I think that's going to be the true 4K machine. One of my big gripes with the PS4 Pro is the fact that it doesn't run true 4K. It runs uh, 38 something by 2160p, which is just under
Yeah. Well,
4,000.
some games are like 1440 and some are 1800. It just
Yeah, which
depends,
is even
right?
lower resolution. But
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, 2160p by 38 whatever is still a little bit low below true 4K, and I know I'm being bitchy there, but that goes into this whole issue we've got now, how TV companies are calling their TVs 4K when really they're just Ultra HD TVs, and they're getting away with it, and it's obviously false advertising, but there's just a whole thing going on about that, and so yeah, it's, touted as a 4K machine when it's kind of not. But it is nice to have these upgraded resolutions either way. My other thing is, I guess my other things, I've talked a lot about how ugly I think the machine is, and seeing it now in person, sitting next to that fucking VCR they call an Xbox One, it's still not that much better looking out of the box. It's still pretty ugly. And I've got skins on the way, so I'm sure they'll announce. I've got a white skin on the way. I'm sure they'll announce a white PS4 Pro as soon
Have
as I
you
put that on.
You should get a
have you
hamburger
seen
skin. That'd be great. Sorry.
have you seen the like the custom painted, retro PS4 Pro?
Yeah,
Oh
I've seen
yeah.
they have the
Oh my
PS1.
God.
Those look cool, but I think what I'm gonna do, because I had that red faceplate on my regular PS4, which I wish I could still use the faceplate, but I'm going to do a similar thing where I bought both a red and white skin, so it's going to have red, and I think I'm going to do like, it's got three sandwich layers, and so I think the top two will be white, and then the bottom ring will be red. And so that'll kind of match the template that I had on my original white PS4. But yeah, like I said, it's just not a pretty machine, and I'm just so used to buying. I love Sony products, and I'm just not used to buying ugly Sony products. It really hasn't been a thing up until this specific one itself. So there's that. There's the fact that there isn't a whole lot going on right now that is special or upgraded from the regular PS4. There's not a whole lot that is, really a lot of bells and whistles that are keeping me super excited. Of course, Horizon's supposed to be great, and I'm sure that it's going to, as soon as I start playing that game, I'm going to really feel like I'm getting my bang for my buck. But yeah, it's kind of weird how few games actually went back and patched or got patches. I thought that there would be more, like Star Wars Battlefront. I was like, really? Is there not enough people playing that game? Just games like that really could benefit from that crispiness and that stuff. It sucks that there aren't more games. Of course, all the awesome games that we're going to be getting this year are going to be incorporating it. Mass Effect and Persona and Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5 is going to be 4K at 60, I think they announced the other day. So moving forward, it'll be great, and I'm glad to have it to kind of future-proof myself. But yeah, it sucks that there isn't more right out of the gate. Besides that, I tried just taking out my 2 terabyte hard drive from my old PlayStation 4, plugging it into this one, and then booting up the firmware from a USB stick. But of course, that would have been too easy. So I had to reformat my hard drive and re-download everything. It wasn't a huge deal because of the fact that I have unlimited internet, so it wasn't like I was getting charged for bandwidth. But yeah, I think, how is that not a thing? How was I not able to, be a PS4 owner, accrue all these things on my hard drive, upgrade to the PS4 Pro, and then just plug and play? I really don't know why it needed to reformat itself.
I could tell you.
Since
I
there's
could tell you.
nothing
I'm not going
different
to bore you
about
with it
like
though.
the UI is not different. It's not like it's plugging itself into a new system. It's like all the systems in place are literally the same. So
No, it seems like you're right. Like it feels like there's no good reason, and there isn't a good reason that they could ever explain to a consumer. But it's just it's something that they couldn't easily overcome. And there's when you're changing systems, you're changing motherboards. That's a tough thing to just put in the new hard drive and the old hard drive, I guess, and keep going like nothing happened. There's more to it than that, is all I'll say. But you're right. From our point of view, that doesn't matter.
I get that,
over
and
something.
your explanation there would be perfect if we were talking about me upgrading PCs.
Yeah.
But this is console gaming, and it's supposed to be simple. That should have been a priority of theirs, because that's who PS4 Pro was for people that had already bought the PS4, but then they're like, yeah, I'm gonna be getting a 4K TV. Horizon's coming out, all this shit. Like, I want to go ahead and get this Pro. I'm gonna upgrade and probably sell it to GameStop like I did my old system. And so it's like, how was that not a priority? How were you not, just like I was saying, how were you not selling Sony 4K TVs alongside this, at your press conference and in bundles and stuff? Like, they just didn't tie all their bows together, and it would have been really nice to just kind of, walk in and have everything set up for me.
Yeah, a while back, Best Buy was doing some bundles, but I think, Best Buy was the one who actually did that bundle, right? And they were doing it with like Samsung TVs or something. Yeah, you're right. Sony should have they sell 4K TVs and they sell a quotation 4K console. There's, have the arm talk to the leg and like fucking help your overall corporation here, but they didn't.
Yeah, so those are my big complaints with it. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Dom? What do you feel? I feel like you probably haven't gotten a whole lot of oomph out of it. Plus, you, I guess, don't have a 4K TV, so really it's just performance boosts and stuff. Which, that's my biggest thing, man. Is like, people are saying it's making some games perform worse. And this boost mode just now coming around, they're saying you can't even change the resolution because it's already set at what it is, so it can't heighten that, but it can heighten your frame rate. I'm hoping that
So
that is a big, because that could be a big incentive for people to actually want this system.
yeah, and the problem was that should have been there at launch. The boost mode is actually
Absolutely.
a huge deal. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Because up till now, I've not really been able to see any of the benefits. There are a few games that put in some features for 1080p TV owners to increase the frame rate or whatever it is, add textures, sort of stuff. But only a handful that actually went and did that because you had to go back and make a patch and so on.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I had assumed when I first got this is that they were going to find a way to basically what the boost mode is. Basically, I remember playing Fallout 4 on PS4, and it's advertised as 30 frames per second. That's what they're shooting for. A lot of the time it drops down to like 20, sometimes even 15 when there's a lot of stuff on the screen. So the boost mode, basically just make sure that doesn't happen. And it's easy to just use that extra horsepower to keep it up to where it's supposed to be and locked, because a locked frame rate can only stay locked when the hardware lets it, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that's really cool, but it should have been there from the start. But when I get hopefully a new TV, hopefully shortly here, I'll really start to see the benefits. And what will be especially exciting is you don't really see the benefits when you didn't see what it was like before, if that makes sense. So if you're going to start Horizon on a 4K TV, whereas, you're obviously going to think it looks good, but whereas I'll start it on a 1080p TV and then hopefully halfway through switch to a 4K TV, and then I'll be able to like, oh, okay, I see. Like,
Right.
I'll be able to do that comparison immediately in my head. Shouldn't have to do that really to get the full benefit of it. But it you just think it looks good, but everything looks better when it's next to something that's worse, I suppose. So it's a hard thing to sell, really, in that sense.
Before we close out, I have one question for you guys. Is it loud?
Oh, that's what else I was gonna say. Mine's quieter than my old PS4 by a long shot.
Yeah. I was actually, people make all these jokes about, oh, my PS4 sounds like a helicopter. Mine sounds like a jet plane or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, chill out, dude. It doesn't sound that bad. Like, go back and listen to those old 360s, man. That's a fucking jet plane right there.
That is true. My 360 was loud, too.
That's a loud console. The original 360s. Sorry, Jared, what?
No, I was gonna say that my 360 used to be loud too, but I had that thing for, well, I had multiple 360s, but the one that I had last,
the intercooler.
It was loud. My PS3 was loud too for some reason. I didn't even play it that much. You guys have heard I own like 3 games on it, but for some reason that thing was super loud. And my Xbox One doesn't always do it, but sometimes when I start up a game, and it's random, it's not like every game I start up, sometimes it'll be I'm like, is a jet plane landing outside? What is that? Yeah, so yeah. I was just interested to see if this big beef boy was loud.
So yeah, my PS4 was just starting to get a little bit louder, and so I was thinking about taking it apart and cleaning out all the fans and everything, taking a few hours, but I'm glad that I didn't, because I just went ahead and got this new console and sold the old one to GameStop, and it works perfectly fine. So I'm glad I didn't do that, but it was just starting to get to the point where I was starting to notice my old PS4, and so far on this one it is totally silent.
I think this is definitely a conversation we should revisit sometime at the end of the year when you guys have had multiple experiences with it, to see at the end of like, I really appreciate the PS4 Pro now, or it really didn't do enough to justify the upgrade or stuff like that. Like, I just want to hear you guys' conversation. So this is definitely something we're going to put a pin in and revisit later. I think that's pretty much it for everything. Some great topics today, some fiery topics. Jordan called me and Dom names, so that was great.
No, I told you guys to go fuck yourselves. But while we're at it, you guys are pieces of shit.